I'm Dustin Baker. I'm a small business owner, SBA lending professional, and a strong believer in the power of entrepreneurialism to bring the best out in our communities. 2020 was tough, but I believe we're resilient. What people have done to rise above the adversity of this last year, to be able to go collect those stories and share it, I think it's just gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm traveling the country, talking to small businesses and the SBA lenders who help them succeed in order to prove it. We're on a mission to build community through shared story. No airports for me. This is my chariot. The road is calling. We're gonna do some fun stuff, and you really need to come watch it because it's gonna be amazing and all the cool kids are doing it. So join me on the SBA Roadshow. The Roadshow leaves on its first leg in 6 days, and I was running this morning and thinking about a question that my wife asked me last night at the dinner table. She said, have you ever considered the possibility that you might fail? And absolutely, you consider that possibility. It's just not something that you allow to stay present in your mind for very long. If you run a business, you necessarily have to be optimistic, and you have to look for the bright side of things, especially if you're going to go through times like we've had in this last year. It could certainly fail, but we're going to go and we're going to leave on the trip next Saturday anyway. Bye. Bye, Sissy. Love you. I've actually started the Roadshow, and it was no small undertaking. I am 4 hours and 32 minutes late getting away from town, so better late than never. My daughter gave me a picture right before I left, and it is a picture, she said, of me driving away in my truck and her crying because she wanted to come on the trip. That doesn't feel so good, but she's probably already moved on. And we are about 7 hours away from Oxford, Mississippi. So let's go. Call the Smithsonian, I made a discovery. We talk about the American dream, but the American reality in terms of our economic paradigm is not one that lends itself toward people having a right to start. I'm eager to get out and spend time hearing people's stories, and maybe I'll learn some ways that I can help put things into practice in my little sphere.
What's up?
Nice shirt.
Welcome to Mississippi. Yeah, I never would have thought I would have been a Mississippian. I did go to school here, graduated from Ole Miss with my degree in finance in 2005. I actually met my wife here. This town is just, it's like nowhere else in the country, in my opinion. It's like Mayberry with a college. And small business is definitely one of the things that turns the wheel here in Oxford. We have the Square Books that's got 4 stores on the square that's been around for over 150 years, and it's really the cornerstone of the square. You've got guys like Stephen King, Tom Brokaw, John Grisham that have all come to do signings at the square, at Square Books. So it's a really unique place. All in all, we've survived the pandemic probably better than a lot of other small towns, and hopefully can continue to do so. Yeah.
Well, I started in recruiting. I covered the upper Midwest for the first firm that I worked for. I just fell in love with it. The people I can relate to well. I enjoy small business. I like the culture of the group. It's very entrepreneurial. I love SBA. It's been good to me, and I enjoy working in that space.
I think I went to work at Nagel when I was 22. My wife was getting her master's degree at Oklahoma State University. That's in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Happened to be, strangely, the worldwide headquarters of the little trade association that could, the National Association of Government Guaranteed Lenders, which is the trade group for the SBA 7A loan program. Have always come back to the SBA space. There's a homesickness, I think, that occurs when people try to leave this space that pulls them back. And so I'm like a lot of people, I think. I got here accidentally, but now I'm here on purpose.
Well, I decided to go into business for myself. I guess as a recruiter, it's something that you always think about. I'd never heard of Dustin before. I'm sure he'd never heard of me before. I called 2 potential clients. Both of them said, we only work with this guy, Dustin Baker. So I decided, well, I better figure out who the heck this guy is. So I picked up the phone and called him.
When Shane called me the first time, I was open. I've always been open-minded to talking to people. But Shane was just really different. Shane called and he did not seem to be concerned with a transaction. He seemed to be concerned from the very first time that we spoke with a relationship.
It took time, but we developed a friendship. We started working on different deals together. And over the course of maybe 2.5 years, we eventually came up with the idea to partner up.
And Shane had been asking me about running his own business, and it was about a year into it that I said, we should think about partnering. And what do you think about that? And he was a little bit reticent. I think what he said, as a matter of fact, was, I don't hate the idea. We just had a lot of common ground, a lot of like-mindedness, and it was just clear, even if I didn't do a deal with this guy, I liked him.
We met face-to-face a handful of times. We found out that our interests and beliefs are really similar.
So it was the most natural thing in the world to start working on business together.
I think we signed paperwork end of January, and then it was 2 or 3 weeks later, COVID really hit. So it was a little scary there for a minute. We didn't know what the future was going to hold.
It's interesting. I think the vision for our company continues to grow.
We want to be the premier SBA search firm in the country.
In this industry where entrepreneurialism really is the kind of the lifeblood of communities and of the flourishing of communities. And so I think the closer that we get to that, the more that I understand that, and the more I want to see us participate in that.
And one of the things I was most proud of that we did was we figured out a way to continue to keep working. So the SBA Roadshow was this crazy idea that my partner came up with. He called me one morning and said, "Hey Shane, I've got this idea. Is it terrible?"
The Roadshow, I think, started from a place of just really deep restlessness. I don't travel a lot, but I really like to see the people that I've built relationships with in this sector.
I think it's a chance for us to really give back to the community that's given us a lot, and I'm hoping that's fun along the way too.
And then the more that idea began to develop, I realized that probably everybody else in our familiar little sector was missing that sense of community like I was. It just felt like something that we couldn't not do at some point. This season on the SBA Roadshow. Well, we're about to be in Tennessee.
Well, hey there! Welcome!
This is what happens when you send an SBA consultant out on the road to take a week and a half worth of video.
Get my good angle.
I'm not getting the whole story. Yeah.
We have a new project. We're doing a $30 million restoration of an old college campus here in town.
Yeah. The Roadshow is in Cincinnati,